Hey, what's going on everyone? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another Steve Racing video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Heir apparent. This weapon got some pretty good buffs with today's update, and so I've been getting quite a few questions about this weapon. So hopefully we're going to be answering all of them in today's video. We're going to talk about the buffs that I actually got today. We're going to take a look at the catalysts and how good they are for this weapon. And lastly, when should you actually use the Heir apparent, and who's going to benefit the most from running this weapon. And overall, just going over any of the things that I want to talk about with this weapon, as well as just show you the weapon in action at the end. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you do, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel in case you guys haven't already for some more Destiny Rising content. And now, let's get into it, and first let's actually talk about some of the buffs this weapon actually got. The very first one is a very simple one. They increased the precision damage multiplier from 1.2 to 1.35. So overall, you're just going to be doing some more precision damage with your weapon. Overall, just kind of increasing the damage as a whole of the weapon. And since you always kind of want to use this weapon fairly close range, you should always be able to take advantage of that increased precision damage, which is going to be pretty nice. Now this second change is not really going to affect everyone, because it only affects it if you have the second catalyst band right here. Consecutive hits gradually increase damage up to a 50% damage increase, and that essentially got shortened. Before, it used to be 10 stacks for you to reach that maximum damage, and instead of being 10, now they actually lowered it to 5 stacks. So the damage increase is still the same, but since you don't really have to reach as many stacks, you can reach that maximum damage much faster, and overall, again, just adds more damage to the weapon. Unfortunately, that only affects the second catalyst, so if you don't have that one, you're not going to see the difference with the Heir apparent. And the third one is a change that's going to affect any sort of Heir apparent. It is essentially the amount of time that it takes to wind up the weapon and actually fire it. They reduced that pretty much across the board. If you don't have the catalyst, it goes from 1.2 seconds to use 1 second of like a spin up. And if you do have the catalyst, it goes from 0.8 to a 0.6, which is this one that you're seeing right here. So it shoots very fast and there's almost no spin up time, which definitely just makes this weapon a lot better, because you don't have to sit there and just wait for the weapon to actually warm up so you can actually fire it. And another change that's kind of connected to this one is that whenever you do fully spin up the weapon, you're going to have a longer window for where you can actually like use the abilities, reload the weapon, stop actually spinning the weapon, and you'll still be able to use fully fire immediately. Like that window is much longer now. It used to be 2.5 seconds. Which made it really hard to like get anything done before you had to like spin up the weapon again. But now it being 4 seconds, you can definitely get more abilities out there while your weapon is still spun up, so you don't have to like re-spin the weapon, and you can just get immediately into firing the weapon again. So we can actually stop right here for a pretty good amount of time and then just get back into shooting the weapon. So that is another really good change. That combined with the faster spin up is definitely going to make a difference for this weapon, and it's just going to make actually using this weapon a little bit more comfortable and a little bit less unforgiving if you have to like re-spin your weapon like in the middle of a fight. So these changes increase your damage while at the same time making the weapon a little bit more comfortable to use, and basically just easier to really make the most out of the Heir apparent without having to like be super cracked out of your mind. Now this weapon was actually already pretty good even before these updates, especially once we got those catalysts going, but it definitely required a bit of investment. But two things that definitely made this weapon stand out, it's high rate of fire, which kind of shares with the mythic one. They both build up corruption very fast, and also having a higher rate of fire means that you can constantly proc Estela's weapon mastery, just getting a bit more damage out there. And this thing has a 200 round magazine, which is a huge improvement over any of the other LMGs in the game. Nothing comes close to this one. This one just has a huge magazine, and you can fire this thing just over and over again, meaning that you can really take advantage of Misfortune's Guide and just proc that weapon mastery just over and over again. That combined with the higher PM means that you can get so much damage out there with the Heir apparent in a very small amount of time. And now let's take a look at the catalysts on this weapon, because they are actually very important, and they can actually make the difference between this being better than the mythic LMG or just basically sticking with the God Roll mythic. Now the very first catalyst right here, it's not really a big one. It increases your arc shield durability, so you can take a bit more damage, and the arc resistance as well as the other resistances are increased. And something that doesn't come into play all the time, but sometimes you can force it, is that whenever your shield is broken, it reloads 50% of the magazine. And this can actually be a little bit more useful than you would expect. You sometimes can force the enemies to use break your shield immediately when putting it up, and it just reloads your weapon very easily without you having to manually reload. It's definitely not a huge thing, but it's definitely something that's going to help you. And while it doesn't say it anywhere, getting the catalyst will decrease your actual spin up speed like you saw in the patch notes. So this first catalyst gives a bit more tankiness, a tech for like actually reloading a better magazine, as well as just being able to fire the weapon faster. Now where this weapon really starts to shine are with the catalyst bands, because they both are going to give you some huge damage increases. The first one makes it so consecutive hits gradually increase damage up to a maximum of 25% increased damage until the target dies. This is a really good upgrade, and you can really take advantage of it against some of those big enemies. Shinkas, bosses, anything that takes more than a couple of shots to kill, this thing is going to be fantastic on them. And because you have such a big magazine, if you throw your Misfortune's Guide on somebody and then just lay into them with the Heir Apparent, not only are you going to be doing tons of damage on them, triggering the weapon mastery over and over again, but at the same time also getting a bunch of corruption. Which works really well with all the Estela buffs we got today, especially since now she can actually use her abilities while still firing the weapon. So a weapon like this one that can hold a lot of ammo and you can just keep holding the trigger is going to be very good with Estela, because we can just keep constantly proccing, building some corruption, keep applying their buffs, all without letting go of the trigger. So this is going to be really good, and it's going to make outputting some good damage with Estela super easy. So the Heir Apparent specifically is in a very good position for the Estela buffs. And the final catalyst is essentially the same thing as the second one. It said that instead of being capped at 25%, it goes up to 50%. It's gonna make your damage be a little crazy with that second catalyst. Unfortunately, because I just couldn't get another Heir Apparent to save my life, I could not actually try it, so I can't really show you the 50% increased damage. But even just showing you this at 25%, it's crazy the amount of damage that you can output, and very easily. And I think everyone will be able to output this type of damage, because essentially spamming your abilities while you hold the fire button. And because you have so much ammo, you're constantly triggering the weapon mastery again, it really builds up that damage. So I definitely recommend that you guys give the Heir Apparent a try, especially when you maximize your damage as much as possible. Although there is a catch to it, I would only really recommend it if you have at least the first catalyst. I think that's really when the Heir Apparent pulls ahead and, you know, actually starts becoming one of the best weapons. It's still really good because of just the buffs that it got and the Estela changes at just no catalyst or maybe just the base catalyst. But when you start actually getting those damage increases, that's really when this weapon starts really shining. So I definitely think that you should give the Heir Apparent a try because of the ease of use, the crazy amounts of damage you can output, and just the amount of ammo you can actually hold. You hold like 500 ammo, which, you know, you could definitely run through very easily on big enemies, but most of the time you're going to be able to comfortably go through strikes and content just firing the weapon and not running into too many ammo issues unless you're really just holding on the trigger. And if you're trying to do some boss damage, this is like the type of damage you would be outputting. Let's start spamming some of the summons, because, you know, we build this up really quickly, so whenever you see the bar fill up, just go and immediately fire it, and it's just that easy. If you have a higher tier Estela, you just keep spamming your summons, and you can get almost 5 million damage very easily in just a couple of seconds in one magazine. And most of the things you're fighting are either going to be dead or immune by that point. So if you have a couple of Heir Apparents that maybe you haven't used, definitely give them a try right now. You're not going to regret it. And if you're someone that likes the Mythic LMG and kind of like the playstyle of the Mythic LMG, you're definitely going to love the Heir Apparent. Now if you're more of a Gallus main because of its utility, then the Heir Apparent is not really going to do much for you. The Gallus is still fantastic and is still the utility king for Estela. But if you want to maximize damage, then this Heir Apparent will always be there waiting for you in case you need it. thank you for stopping by for today's video. Let me know what your thoughts on the Estela buffs and also on the Heir Apparent. Is this a weapon that you already used? Are you already an Heir Apparent lover from before the buffs even? Or are you somebody that's just picking up the weapon now? Let me know that in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care everyone, have a good rest of your day. Peace. I think we should have spun up and then done that. Oh, there goes that. I think we messed it up. Boss damage is about the same. I think. Yeah, 32. Still a little bit less than the percentage. 32.12 to the boss instead of the 32.27.